all these small tech that bigger organizations are using are still available for any small or medium organization as well.
AI or artificial intelligence is for the big people. Like a small company cannot go to somebody and say we need AI implementation done. But the reality is they can, because
Everything that we are seeing right now is personalized anyway. In Amazon, we see everything personalized. Why not on your website?
using OCR plus these large language models to read and understand the invoice can automatically, with a very minimal error rate, assign headings. Your whole accounting can just be an upload job. Cool. So I think today we've had a lot, like up until now, we've had a lot of good chats. We had a really nice episode where we spoke quite a bit about different applications. We spoke about QR codes and few simple tech applications that we can say. Do watch that episode if you haven't. But we did touch on AI a little bit, right? I think today it would be a good idea to talk a little bit about sort of unleashing the digital magic. I'm using jargony words, but so did our scriptwriter said. But anyways, but it is all about talking. So we want to talk about AI in MSMEs, right? Applications of AI in MSMEs and how MSMEs can benefit from different applications or building a software. Digital transformation, that is a term we'll probably talk about a bit more. So yeah, what do you feel about this topic?
Yeah, I think a good start for at least the introduction of this topic of the podcast today. And I feel, we did talk about a lot of things in tech, but we very lightly brushed upon all the times the topic of AI. And as we know, this is a part of Human AI podcast, and it has to have a bit of AI somewhere into the podcast. So Himanshu, I want you to put some light on for our audience as on the term digital transformation. What do we understand by digital transformation? And more than that, how is it relevant in SMEs, small, micro, and medium scale enterprise?
Yes, absolutely. So firstly, I think when somebody says the term digital transformation, it is a very widely used term today. It's not that people are not using it. But still, at one point, it does get a bit jargony because we are not talking about something definitive here, right? So it is more of the definition of how we, as a tech company, or how others want to define it. The way I do, and we'll probably get your thoughts as well, but the way I do is any MSME, like micro, small, medium size organizations need to start thinking about this term and what this term could mean for them is what my feeling is. Because if we talk about a small enterprise, what digital transformation for them would be, even if building any sort of application, any sort of software that automates any part of their business, it does create a lot of efficiency for them. That is digital transformation. If you divide the term, we are digitally transforming you to the next stage, right? That is how I take on it. What do you think? How do you?
So I think for me, digital transformation is a big umbrella term, but more or less, if you ask me conceptually, I break it down this into two parts. The first is actually just transforming your organization, which means having processes. So let's take an example of an organization which is by design quite unorganized. So you can't apply any digital transformation concepts there because it is not organized. So the first stage itself is organizing it using, their standard operating procedures, building some processes. Once you have built in those processes, it can be on paper, it can be on spreadsheet, it can be, sometimes it can be verbally, which is not recommended, but it has to have some processes. Once they have the process, then they become eligible to become digitally transformed. So when we talk about what is the exact meaning of digital transformation is, you take up their physical processes and just replicate it with a scale, with some more validation, with some more, including the tech smartness, and you convert it into a digitally transformed SOPs. So that is what the term digital transformation revolves around for me. And I also think that most of the people think digital transformation is more about making apps. It's about making a new website. It is about implementing a new SaaS-based new software. So it is not actually that. It is more about you can use any, readily available software, free software as well, to actually transform your, your company digitally. So that is what my take is.
Absolutely. So would it be fair to say that digitizing their operating procedures, because SOPs is standard operating procedures, digitizing their operating procedures on a platform, it can be any sort of platform. You very correctly said that it's not necessary to build something. There are off-the-shelf platforms or softwares or applications that you can use, customize it for your needs, and start using it for your business, hence increasing efficiency. So, absolutely. Cool. As I said, we want to talk about MSMEs today, right? So let's start with talking a bit about them and the reality of MSMEs as of today. So if I ask you the question, what is the reality of MSMEs today? What would be your take on it?
So the reality of MSME, okay, it's a great, milestone in the podcast to have. So what I feel is today's MSME, they are using some or the other type of software for sure. There are plethora of softwares which are available. Some softwares are dead cheap, some softwares are free, some softwares are expensive, but they are using one or the other software either in their inventory management, accounts management, or maybe operations management. They are definitely using these softwares. What is not being done is they are not using the smartness that is available in today's age. We all are talking about, AI, ML, and all these smart tech terms. And people feel that it is a futuristic thing, but it is not. AI has been there since quite a while. We have been using Google Analytics, predictable, searches in Amazon and all. There have been Tesla since so long, and people still think that these technologies are not available for them as the SMA because these are quite high fundo technologies. But I just want to break this myth that all these small tech that bigger organizations are using are still available for any small or medium organization as well. So the reality is this. What organizations think right now is, now that they are using software, that is the limit, that is the most optimum that they can work on. But that is a decade-old thing. I mean, a decade old also we had SAP systems, we had some of the other ERPs. So we had all this. Now, what SMEs needs to do is, they need to understand the current scenario, which is readily available smart tech, and start adapting to it. That's how they will gain the edge over their competitors, is what I feel in the current.
Absolutely. And I feel you very rightly said. For example, you cannot be using a decade-old tech, because if we talk about the age of software, it's like talking about dog years or something like that, because something that is even 2 years old, in the tech industry, we would say it is 5 years ago, because the industry is evolving so fast. So I think that is very correct, because the small and medium-sized organizations are probably thinking that if we are using a software or if we are using a system, we are okay and we have done the right thing. But it's more about evolving to the next step, taking the plunge of maybe talking to somebody to introduce AI into their systems, right? Because I think one thing I've noticed quite a bit, and you mentioned it as well, which is happening very openly, where people are thinking AI or artificial intelligence is for the big people. Like a small company cannot go to somebody and say, we need AI implementation done. But the reality is they can, because what's changed and why AI has become so famous, or the term has been used so much, obviously because of ChatGPT and all of that. But the algorithms that are out now, which is GPT-4, GPT 3.5 previously, and all those, have made it so easy or available for developers to help these MSMEs now, that they can actually come to us or come to a similar tech agency and start thinking about ideas. And we will, in this podcast, also talk about some example applications that will probably give them some sense, because obviously examples make it easier to understand things. But yeah, I think it's high time for them to take that plunge now.
So I also want to add two more things here. I feel the going digital thing. So people do think that, okay, this is my business and it is going at XYZ rate and I want to implement a couple of visions. They do hire any consultant who helps them achieve, all these SOPs and digital SOPs. What I feel is the digital transformation actually does not happen in your organization first. It happens in your brain first. It happens in your mindset first. Going digital is here. It's not in the process yet. Once it starts here, you start thinking everything digitally. That's wherein you start that mindset of going digital in most of the places that you can, which includes, if I was using probably a paper or pen or something like that to take to give signatures and all that, I would change that to probably using a tablet or laptop in this case to sign most of our SOPs like that. So I feel going digital starts with the mindset. Second thing I feel is in this journey of going digital, as you rightly said, the cost of building a digital service or digital SOP or a digital product has gone down by probably 20-30%. If you actually think about all these medium scale enterprises, the cost has gone quite down by probably 20% or so, because of all these tools which are empowering the development. So now when, say for example, it used to take 100 rupees to build something, it is being built at 70 to 80 rupees as of now. So it becomes very easy for all these MSMEs to actually go out and build a smart system, or if they have an existing system, build smartness into it. Yes. When I say smartness, what I mean is adding some capabilities of AI as well as ML, as well as any place wherein we can do predictive analysis in their either inventories or their operations or their maybe cost, finances, or any places wherein there are large numbers involved. So these are the places I feel, these are the 2 pointers I feel that has happened in the industry today.
Do you think it would be a fair point to say, or just to make it easier for people to understand? I know there are a lot different applications, but we can say wherever there is a lot of data, a system like this would be very beneficial.
Yes. So let's take an example in this case. Let's take an example of probably textile. So as we know that, say some manufacturer of textile from Surat wants to, he already has some inventory management system as well as a system wherein he can track his customers. So basically supply and demand that he can, track on. And as of now, he is only relying on intuitions that, okay, there is going to be Diwali or some festival. So as, the production of XYZ type of textiles will increase. But now, instead of just using the human intuition, he can now fall back to a very granular machine analysis through which he can very, accurately predict, or at least have probabilistic prediction of how things are going to perform in terms of their inventories, when is going to be the demand of certain type of textiles. Accordingly, then he can forecast his supply, which is his inventory. So all this is now very readily possible when it comes to data, dealing with data. He can also, connect their AI with their machines or their systems with market analysis tools, which, understand where the market is going, what are the news going on, and so on and so forth, which again powers their businesses. So now it's not a people dependent business. Now it is more system dependent business. Plus it is intelligent. It is thinking way too ahead than what a human can think. So that is, I feel that comes to my mind, a very straightforward and simple example of what machines can do.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that the concept of predictive analytics is going to be a really big sort of revolution in the industry, in a lot of industries, because what it's going to help do is what was reliant on people previously, where people were using their brains and experience to predict stuff. And sometimes that was correct, sometimes that wasn't. They were trying to use data, maybe even simple data analytics tools. But with predictive analytics, that is going to go to the next level, and it will help their decision making, because obviously the machine is not going to make decisions for you, but it will really drive the decision making for these individuals who are in, say, even the textile industries and all of that. Okay, I think we've had a really good start, and we have touched on a few interesting points. I think we can move into talking about some real life examples or applications now, more than examples, actually applications. So if we start talking about, say, customer segmentation, or maybe inventory management. We talked about inventory management a little bit, but inventory management, customer segmentation, a few applications that AI guided digital experiences. Like, these are some terms that people don't know at the moment, and some applications that nobody's thinking about, right? So let's start touching on a few of these. Let's start with inventory management. What do you think, apart from the textile space, or not being specific to that industry, like if we talk about a simple grocery store or a bakery or a simple restaurant, how can a smart or an AI-enabled inventory management system help?
So I think it all starts with the right inputs that any system requires. As you mentioned that, let's take an example of the bakery or any grocery stores. So it all starts with taking the inputs, what kind of customers you are having, what kind of purchases they are making, and the data around it that you feed into these systems. These systems then can learn the patterns about what is the age group and what are they buying and what period of the month they are buying more and what products they are buying. So it's very easy to predict all these items, and then the grocery store can very in advance take a lot of decisions on the inventory filling. So that is one part of things. The other part of things is the discounting. So say, for example, if they figure out that there is a specific part of the day, as well as specific part of the month, as well as specific part of the year, wherein the certain products are actually sold less and there are certain products which are sold more. So they can discount the product which are sold less so as to, motivate the customers to buy them more, as well as they can arrange or, tweak the prices of the the products which are in demand. So all these things are possible, and these are not intuition based things, because for intuition you need to have a lot of experience, which a machine can have, and you can keep on increasing the machine's experience as and when it keeps on getting more and more data. So implementing the right inputs is the first step, of course, and then you will get crazy outputs out of it, which you won't be even able to analyze by just your your own brain. So I feel, in fact, one of the case study that I know of was actually analyzing such kind of data, and then we very easily we figured out when are the most drops of the customers, which are the most customers which are repetitive and what are they buying, and which are the customers who are new acquisitions and what are they buying, so as to then loop them up into the second buy, second item purchase, third item purchase, and eventually making them a loyal customer. So that is one of the very practical example that I feel is used in inventory management as well as grocery.
I think that is a very, very good example, and I would like to just elaborate on that a little bit, just making it a super simple, dumbed down version of that example. If there's a small grocery store in a particular area which has fix, say, families that definitely get groceries from them on a monthly basis or a weekly basis. And they say, let's say there are 10, 20, 25 families, fixed families around that area that come there only and order the same products and have a regular grocery pickup from there, the fruits, the dals and all of that. And there is maybe also a college close by. And there are college students who are coming to buy soft drinks and maybe a protein bar or a granola bar or something. So these things can actually now be fed into a system as data. And depending on your previous history, the system will tell you when to order a certain product or a series of certain products, when to not order products. For example, when there's college holidays, you might not have to stock up on those soft drinks and bars so much because kids are not going to show up a lot. When the college reopens, they will. Similarly, a family is continuously buying. You can make sure that you have the products they need available rather than not having a few things unavailable. So making sure you don't miss out even on a couple of products, right? We can go down to that detail, and it can be really revolutionary for some of these small grocery stores, because that small addition of making sure those products are being sold in an optimized manner will reduce their costs of wastage and all of that, and also increase their revenue.
Yeah. And with this example, even I remembered another example of a very famous paints company, which so this paints company has its outlets with hardware stores, wherein these hardware stores are basically small nodes which are selling their paints. And what this paint company does is they have data since long time, since 15-20 years or whatever years, and they have fed this data to their system, and they can very detailed predict about where and when, what the requirements are going to be, what the demands are going to be. So a truck comes in, stands on the in the front of the shop, their nodes, and they give them paints. The paint might have the oil paints or distempers or whatever colors and all that. And these paints are not demanded by the store owners. These are given by the paint company. Okay. And automatically, just through the consumer behavior, these paints are getting consumed automatically. When they know that this paint is going to be consumed in November month. So they automatically just come in, they give that paint, and that paint is of specific quantity, it gets consumed then, and they just go. So that level of predictability has been already happening with this paint company. The interesting point here is this level of sophistication is now available for a small business owner. So that is the point.
Absolutely. And that's a very, very important take from here, because that has been the reluctance of people, that this is something only a large corporation can do, but that is not the case anymore. MSMEs can avail these technologies because of, as we were discussing, how the costs have come down and availability of new tech and everything. And that is a very good point that we need to take out from here. Cool. I think that was a good application for AI for MSMEs. Let's also talk about something slightly different. It can help MSMEs. It can actually help larger corporations as well, but it's more of an application. And I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and I think there are a lot of people working on it as well, which is AI guided digital experiences.
Oh yeah. So it's a big thing, I think. So till now, we had websites and mobile apps on which, say for example, any real estate app, which helps you discover rented flats around you, or maybe flats to buy around you. And till now we had this experience wherein a website you go, you search for your flat, what you want, or your locality, and it just gives you the listings. But now people are moving towards AI guided experience, wherein once you arrive to this website or app, they won't directly ask you to search for things. They will ask you to either type in or select from a preset preferences first. And based on your preferences, it will then guide you through the whole journey of discovering the services. In this case, for example, it will show. So, say for example, you are a 35 year old guy, and your preferences are that you are a gym going, and you need probably you are also into tennis, and probably now that you are a 35-year-old and you are working, your per capita, sorry, your monthly income is probably lakh rupees. Then it is going to show you the relevant journey wherein the flats are of your relevance. Plus, not only that, the whole website experience is crafted for you, including the colors, including the placement of the elements. Say, for example, you are an old guy in your 50s or so. It will automatically pump up the fonts. It will probably change the colors to blue, because blue is a color of trust, and then the whole experience is again crafted for you, wherein you will get the flats which are in more peaceful societies. Garden is very reachable. You have more parks around, so on and so forth, like that. So AI guided experiences has been the next big thing. And in fact, what I feel is all the businesses generally should not design their user acquisition as well as working strategy with respect to what's happening currently. They should design their everything, the whole strategy, with respect to what is going to happen in next 2 to 5 years. And in next 2 to 5 years, it's going to be personalized. Everything that we are seeing right now is personalized anyway. In Amazon, we see everything personalized. Why not on your website? So this is this is what is happening in AI guided digital experiences or AI guided anything. And again, this is available for not big corporation. This is available for medium-sized enterprises too.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, in my opinion, I would just like to say it very simply. This is going to be the next level of user experience, or the next revolution in user experience, because we know we have all been talking about, and every even small organizations, medium-sized organizations have started understanding the importance of user experience. But it is quite a skill, right? And there are these UX designers who are really, really good at what they do, and they design these crafted experiences in one website, trying to tailor it to all the target audiences. But this AI-driven digital experiences is going to take that UX to the next level, because it will be so personalized to what your needs are. I'm sure even the UX designers are going to love working on this, because they're going to get to achieve their dream to make sure they give the best user experience to each target audience, which in the past they used to struggle with, for example. And I think, as I said previously, it's going to be the next revolution in UX.
Very true, very true. I also want to take this moment to talk about the gap, the polarizing part of the tech. What I feel is with each inclusion of tech, the tech which is a polarizing tech. In our case, it is the AI and ML. This is going to now increase the gap between smaller organizations and the larger organization. So the poorer are going to get more poor, and the richer are going to get more rich. And this is going to happen because the people who are adapting to these fast-moving technologies are then automatically going to increase their churn rate, their speed of delivery, hence closing the projects faster, delivering extraordinarily great performances. And the people who are not going to adapt to it are going to get left out, because it is going to be more 20-80 principle going on here. So I feel the organization who are into the phase of scaling up should definitely get smarter technology.
And I feel even the large corporations that are at a certain stage but decide to not adapt to these technologies will, in the coming years, diminish, because in front of them, a medium or a small size organization who has adapted to this will rise right up with them and go further up, because of the tech enabling they have within their organization. So I think it is a very true and a very important point to be noted, that all the organizations who do not adapt will fall off the wagon and they won't be able to continue, because at one point it's going to be too difficult in simple terms, because users' demand is going to be such, as you said, that in 5 years everything is going to be personalized. It already is. With the newer generation, the users' demand is going to be such, if it is not there, the users are not going to want to get from them. And then everything else, for like especially for large corporations who have built stuff over the years with a name, even those things will start falling. The name will start falling. The reason being, the users will demand that personalization. The users will demand that ease or that experience that even those big names are not able to give now. So I think that's a very, very important point to be noted. Cool. I think we've talked about a couple of good examples. There's one more coming in my mind, and I think this would be a really good one to chat about, and could apply to n number of industries, because this is a part that every industry has, which is accounting. So, and I feel, this is my personal feeling, but what I feel is currently, if in the Indian space, if you have a particular system for invoicing and you have your invoices automatically working out and getting into Tally, that is the epitome of tech in accounting for people, getting stuff into Tally automatically, and you're not doing manual data entry into Tally. But I think there are further steps to be taken, because as we've been talking today, because of the technology available, which is these large language models that are readily available for us now, that a lot of the accounting part can be automated. My small take on this, then we'll get yours, is that even if you have repetitive invoices coming every month and you are having to attach it to certain headings and putting it into certain accounts, all of that can happen automatically. And not just repetitive invoices. Artificial intelligence using OCR plus these large language models to read and understand the invoice, it can automatically, with a very minimal error rate, assign headings. Your whole accounting can just be an upload job, really. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree to what you are saying, and I also know a couple of people who are doing this, and it just works like magic, and it saves plenty of their efforts, as well as I feel that these people who have very initially figured out, oh, we are gonna need this, have already implemented this. So it's a good time for people in accounting as well to implement this kind of smart tech.
I think there is one more application that we should talk about before we close off. And I think this can be very widely used, online, offline, everywhere, which is for e-commerce, dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing for e-commerce. And when we say e-commerce, it can really be sometimes even physical stores all the way to all these online stores. So what's your take on dynamic pricing with e-commerce?
Yeah, so this is quite underrated thing that can be done easily, but is not being done. I feel that the demands as well as supply of all these e-commerce items can be tweaked based on the prices, can be tweaked based on the demand and supply of this items on e-commerce. You can definitely, there are a lot of people who are keeping tabs on, is the price of fluctuating. There are a couple of add-ons which are available to tell you, to notify you if the price is fluctuating. The only thing is that there are very handful of people who are interested in knowing if the prices are fluctuating or not. But this can be actually forced onto people, or maybe promoted to people to keep a track on, and then you can adjust your pricing based on certain day of the day wherein the demands are quite low, to reduce the price and increase the price, so on and so forth. E-commerce, thereby you can maximizing the revenue, because if you have seen in malls as well, if you observe the malls, weekends the malls are full. Okay, on the weekdays the malls are generally full in the evening, but the mall staff as well as the mall operations are working throughout the day, and it's very difficult to actually balance it out, and especially on the days when there is an upcoming festival, the demands soar up too high in weekends as well on the weekdays. So that's wherein you need all these predictable machine learning algorithms and dynamic pricings in mall as well as e-commerce, because it's the same happens on e-commerce. Once you are off from your job, people start soaring in more. On weekends, they soar more onto the e-commerces. So I feel there is a need of a dynamic pricing on e-commerce so as to just facilitate more revenues, maximize more revenues of the customers, of the companies, as well as giving good offers to the customers.
Absolutely. I think that is really going to change the way e-commerce sales are managed currently, or the effort people are putting to make sure they keep getting continuous sales. This would be a real good enabler for that. Along with that, I feel also in terms of, I think it's more of a slightly non-AI application, but still adds on to the e-commerce bit, where there are a lot of these e-commerce or a lot of these product providers who are selling to customers directly, B2C, and who are also selling to other distributors and businesses and wholesalers, right? And what happens in this case is obviously the price that is in retail is different, and the price that is in for the wholesalers is different. And even within the wholesalers, there are different pricing gaps depending on he has a certain kind of wholesaler who always gets a certain quantity and all of that. But the interesting point is their B2C is online and automated, and people can order on their website or an app and things like that. But the B2B part is all offline. They're just getting the orders and everything is getting placed. They probably have a POS or the order management system that connects to their inventory where they enter the order. But that stuff is not happening via an online e-commerce platform, which it easily can. And just by the same website. It can just be, instead of a user login, it has a different login. That login takes them to their own portal, not a portal, but a website, but it has different pricing bands. As soon as you log in using an account, you start seeing your pricing as per your pricing category with that supplier. And then you can place the order online. And just like any B2C order, that order can come and the minimum order quantities and all of that can be set on the website or the app. And they can just order it and it can come straight to the system and the processing can get much faster, which part is currently happening all offline, thinking that this is B2B. How can we make this online? But it can very easily just become a part of your current website by just adding that trade layer, we can say. So I think that was my take on the e-commerce bit. Obviously a bit non-AI, but still. Cool. I think I feel we have touched on quite a few good things today. We started from talking about digital transformation and how that term is coined. I gave my take. You had a very interesting take on it to explain it in a very clear manner on what it exactly is. And we introduced a few different applications that we can talk about that can really benefit the MSMEs. And we also tried to sort of shed some light on how MSMEs can now benefit from the tech that's available, and they can take their businesses to the next level. The small can go to the medium and the large. The medium, who are already in the growing phase, can increase the speed at which they get to the large corporation size. So I think overall it was a great talk. Any closing comments from your end?
Yeah, so I think I would promote this fact that the AI is here, it was here, and it is going to be here. And taking that, we need to use AI in our businesses as much as possible so as to make ourselves free to take bigger strategic decisions. So that is it, I think, from my side.
Absolutely.
So that is it for today's, guys. In today's podcast, unleashing AI magic with digital transformation. If you want to have any query related to digital transformation, do drop us at ritesh@thumbstack.in or himanshu@thumbstack.in. That's it. Adios.